No disrespect to apartments.com, Craigslist, Trulio, HotPad, Zillow. You know the names where we all go and spend all of our money on trying to get apartment leads. Hey, great advertising campaigns. They're wonderful. Who doesn't like them? But I think we all can agree, can't we? The easiest way for us to rent an apartment is through a warm referral, right? Somebody gives us the name and number of somebody they know that needs to move, or even better, that somebody they know calls us and says, hey, Gina, one of your current residents, told me I need to live there. How do we get these referrals? They're gold, right? They're like a gift from the heavens. How do we get more of them? First thing we need to do is ask. The second thing we need to do is ask in the right way. Because of the fact that we don't know when to ask and how to ask, we end up giving up typically on getting resident referrals. Why? We've done so much hard work to get this great resident to live at our community. The last thing that we want to do is harass them. Hey, Gina, do you have any names and numbers of people you know so I can call them ad nauseum until they end up calling you and saying, lose my number. You gave it to the apartment guy. I'm sick of hearing from him. We don't want to do that. I don't want you to do that. I would never train somebody at Leasing University to act like that. All right. I want to give you a better system. Let's first cover the when. You can't really ask unless you know when. I'm going to give you a simple rule right now of when to ask somebody a referral, okay? When you ask a current resident if they can give you referrals is anytime you hear from that resident the words thank you. The words thank you, the genesis of the words thank you is from the words thinking of you. It means somebody feels indebted. You've done something for them. They're going to be thinking of you because they owe you something. That's the origin of the word thank you. That's a pretty good indication when you've done something for somebody, when you've done something for a current resident and they feel like they owe you something, probably a good time to ask them for a referral, okay? So rule number one, anytime you hear the words thank you, I want you to ask for referrals. But what's a simple way? What's a positive way? What's a non-pushy, non-manipulative way you can ask for that referral? Because the last thing I want you doing is taking your great relationships with your current residents and putting pressure on them by saying things like, you got any names and numbers? Let me write them down right now because my regional manager is going to come in next week. I got at least 5, no 10, no 20 apartments by next month. So if you could just give me the names and numbers of people you know, I'll call them and harass them. Then maybe I'll get some leases. You'll lose some friends. We don't want to sound like that. So here's what I want you to do. Anytime somebody says thank you, I want you to say, it's my pleasure. We love having you live here. Hey, you couldn't do me a favor, could you? Did you see how I did that? It's my pleasure. We love having you live here, Gina. Hey, you couldn't do me a favor, could you? They're always going to say the same thing, one of two things, either sure or depends on what it is, right? You know, I was just thinking, we love having you live here. If you know any other great people, and don't worry, I'm not going to ask you for their names. I'm not going to ask you for their numbers. I'm not going to ask you anything about them. I'm just curious. Do you know any other great people? Right? Yeah. I know a lot of great people. You know, great people like me, great people like Gina tend to hang out together. Just say that. Do you know any other great people? And then immediately follow up with, don't worry. I'm not going to ask you for their names. I'm not going to ask you for their numbers. I'm not going to ask you for their emails. I don't want any information about them. I'm just curious, do you know any other great people? Yeah, I know great people. Awesome. Gina, could you do me this favor? The next time you see them, the next time you're talking with them, especially if it looks like they need to move, would you let them know what a wonderful community this is? Would you let them know how easy it is to lease an apartment here? Can you let them know how great the service is? I would really appreciate it. If you know more great people just like you, please let them know how wonderful it is living here. Now notice what I did there. I paid Gina a compliment. Great people just like you, right? I've paid her a compliment. I've put zero pressure on Gina. I've made her feel good about herself, and I've asked her a simple request. When you handle it that way, whenever somebody says thank you, it was my pleasure, we love having you live here. Hey, you couldn't do me a small favor, could you? They say sure, or depends on what it is. You know, I was just thinking, Gina, do you know other great people. And don't worry, I'm not going to ask you for their names, their numbers, their emails, anything like that, Gina. I'm just curious if you know other great people. Yeah, I know a few. Awesome. If you could do me this favor, Gina, the next time you see them, the next time you're with them, especially if it looks like they might need to move, would you do me this favor and just let them know how wonderful it is living here, how easy it is to lease an apartment from us, and how great the service is? That would really, really mean a lot to me. When you position it that way, you're essentially putting zero risk on jeopardizing your relationship with that current resident. You're putting zero pressure on them, and you can ask that question 10 times, 50 times, 100 times a month, and you're gonna find warm referrals. Either Gina says, you know, Todd's moving, let me just give you his number right now. Or Todd's gonna call you. Gina said, I need to live there. Anytime somebody tells you thank you, I want you to practice this, I want you to implement it, and I want you to go with it. It's going to get you so many referrals. I'm so excited you guys joined me for this video. My name is Matt Easton. I'm the founder of Leasing University, the #1 sales training for people in the apartment industry. Until the next video, be great and get those leases. The way people rent apartments has changed. Today's renter has access to more information. Today's renter has more choices. The apartment industry needs you. Studies have shown that moving is the most stressful life event. The old sales training, well, it just doesn't work today. I'd like to teach you how to take the stress out of leasing apartments in a way that's meaningful to you and your renters and get you 7 times more leases. I'll show you how the perfect leasing process works. I'm gonna walk you through everything from answering the phone to closing the lease. I'm gonna show you how to determine your prospects' wants and their needs so that you can build value in your apartments. You will learn how to handle any objection or complaint. I'm gonna show you how to connect with your renter so it's easy for them to rent with you. I've taught the best property management companies and thousands of people just like you how to lease apartments. Property management is complicated. I'll simplify it for you. There's more competition than ever before. I'm gonna show you how to be #1. All of a sudden, your career, it's gonna make perfect sense, even if you've never worked in sales or property management before. And for the advanced property manager, I'm gonna show you how to take things to the next level. Leasing University is a new, simple, step-by-step process that's effective. We're gonna help you become a rock star in property management. I'm Matt Easton, and this is Leasing University.